Well, I think it's important that we do. Like you've heard both coaches come and talk about the great week of practice we've had during this open week. Um, we had a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, great competition, and what I told the defense at the end of the last practice that we had was that um, that we found something in terms of the ability to be able to compete, the ability to be able to play with great confidence. But what we have to do is now take that to the game, right? Take that to the game every week and hold that energy throughout an entire game. So that's the challenge. I think that's the challenge with a lot of teams. But ours is one that, like Coach Morris has said, is that we're continuing to teach them. We're continuing to teach them how to win, continuing to teach them how to sustain energy, how to eliminate mistakes throughout a game. Because it's that one play. You may play well, and then it's that one play that can change the game, like he talked about, where the shoe drops. It's that one play where everything is going well, and then all of a sudden, well, when you have young teams and teams that have not had a tremendous amount of success, when that shoe drops, that's it. Whereas you have other teams that have had great success, something happens and they just keep going. Well, we're trying to get our team to that place, our defense to that place where it doesn't matter what's going on with the offense, it doesn't matter what's going on with the special teams, that we apply ourselves and do our job.
Coach Morris said that Scott Twins had a really good practice last week. What have you seen from them this season? How we can see them on the field this season?
Well, you most likely won't see them on the field this season. But what we've had the benefit of having is those guys on the sidelines, in a red shirt situation, with them on the sidelines with tremendous energy. We can't take them on away games, but on the sidelines at home games, throughout the games, these guys have great energy. Sometimes you hear what they say and you almost got to laugh, even in the serious arena of a football game. But they having an opportunity to go out and participate and go out and actually tackle and play and practice, they show great promise. Those guys have really good size, but they're freshmen, but when you give them an opportunity like we had the fortune of last week to be able to let them scrimmage, you see that they're going to be able to be good players for us.
Does it make you excited, the idea of them forgetting the line in a couple of years?
Definitely. Like I said, we all want it now, but when you look at what these guys can be, it's really exciting for us.
South Florida has a very mobile quarterback, Quentin Flowers. He's your second leading rusher.
Another one.
And you've seen a lot of them already.
Right.
How does he differ from the other ones that you've seen this year?
Well, I think he ties his left shoe before he ties his right. That's probably, no, all of these guys have been, and for a defense, like I continue to say, anytime you have a mobile quarterback, anytime you have a quarterback that they, just like we do with Matt, that they use in a run game, it's a tremendous challenge for the defense. He's a younger guy. Some of the guys we faced have had, a lot more experience than he has, but definitely talented, good speed. You have a quarterback like him, you probably think he can't throw the ball as well, but he's shown the ability to be able to throw some balls. So it's going to be a challenge for us to be able to contain him. I read somewhere in going back and looking at some of the games we've played that, we were able to just slightly slow the quarterback, Ward from Houston, down, held him to a little bit less than what he was averaging. So, with all he does for South Florida, we just want to make sure that we try to contain him with our front and do some things because of his lack of great experience, do some things to be able to confuse him a bit in coverage and tackle well when he does choose to leave the pocket.
There's some coaches who will use a receiver or running back for the scout team quarterback to impersonate that running ability. Who's the mobile
It's been me. I'm just joking. We've used Prochet. Yeah, we use Prochet, one of our receivers, which with all these quarterbacks on our scout team, he's the guy who probably has the most abilities to be able to make people miss. And as we've gone through the weeks, he's even developed his ability to be able to throw the ball. He's not. It doesn't look like a duck when it comes out of his hand.
When you've been able to see these redshirt freshmen play in practice, how much of a better idea is it giving you exactly where they're going to play defense when they contribute next year?
Well, we still have a spring, but the thing about these younger guys is that they all have really good size, and they are, I don't want to say energetic, but that's probably a great word to use for what we've seen in them, is that they're excitable, because they bring something to every practice. The attitudes of, like you talked about, the Scott twin, the attitudes of those young men is refreshing, and every day you're able to be around them, understanding that they're really a blank canvas. So we hadn't made any decisions as far as where exactly they'll play, but we are really excited about the future with them. Not only them, but even some of our younger guys that are out there playing.
How would you evaluate, the first half of the season as a whole?
Well, as coaches, I think Coach Craddock just talked about his expectations for Matt and some of his guys. You always want more, but sometimes you can look at the stats, like I remarked about the kid from Houston and us being able to hold him to a little bit less. You can choose to go one or two ways. You can look at what has happened and you say, well, we only won one game. Well, if you look at it that way, then I think the sun never comes out in your front yard. Or you can look at it in another way and say that there are some things that we've improved upon. And, we talk to our guys, which when you talk to people about the teams of the past, they always tell us, oh, your guys are playing much better and different. We only won one game. So that discussion doesn't go far. But when we talk to our players, we talk about the fact that, they have no choices in this matter. We have to stay strong, stay diligent, protect our culture, the culture that we're trying to create here. And I think that from the first half until now and on into the future, we feel like our players have bought into that, right? They are making mistakes when we would like for them not to, but I think that happens across America. But what we have to keep pushing for is continued energy, continued enthusiasm at practice. You want to be there rather than you have to be there. When we go out and play the games, understanding that each play is very important, but when the play is over, it's over, and it's independent of any other plays. And I think as our guys continue to grab on to that, as we keep pushing that, as we stay strong and let them know that that's the culture and we're not changing, I think that we'll continue to grow as we've grown through these 5 games. Coach Morris had an acronym, I think, LOSS, learning opportunities, where you're able to stay strong. Well, we've had a lot of learning opportunities, and we've stressed to our guys that they have to stay strong. But we're going to keep on pushing that way. But we're going to change that acronym with a WIN in there somewhere. Is what we want to try to do.
South Florida's running back, Marlon Mack, statistically at least, he's one of the best in the conference. What does he do particularly well, or who does he remind you of?
Well, I tell you what, he, as well as his other running backs in their group that you watch on film, they got a good core of running backs. And what they do is they run extremely hard. They're tough players. They show speed, trying to get the ball to the edges, which is something I think they try to do as an offense. They don't necessarily try to fool you with a lot that they do. They're going to run the zone downhill. They're going to run the power, and they'll take the ball They'll hit it in the hole or they'll bounce it outside, and they got enough speed to be able to do that. It's going to be important for us as a defense to fit the run properly, right? It's like we talk about. It's like a I don't want to say a spaceship, but that's the way it's got to be fit. I'll say a spaceship. It's got to be fit. There can't be any seams, in the run fits. Or these guys, the way they run, they'll blow through. You continually watch them on film where there's a 15-yarder here, there's an 18-yarder here, there's a 14-yarder here. Well, we have to eliminate those. And when you see those happen in games, it's one guy. It's one guy. Like Coach Craddock said, on offense, you got one guy that doesn't make his block. Well, on defense, it's one guy who jumps out of his gap because he wants to try to do a job in another gap, and it gets you in trouble. And well, if everybody else is in their gap and you're not in yours, there's a 15-yard run. And until somebody recovers from their gap, with these guys especially, the ball's down the field, and it makes it difficult for you to be able to stop them if you're not disciplined in your gaps.
Anything else? What do you think of Shaquille Randolph's performance after he went back to safety and allowing Tyron Mitchell to play at the star?
Well, I think that Shaq has, just because of his experience, he's made this transition better than a lot of guys would be able to make. He's played all over, and I think it was something that might have been a little bit of a relief for him because it's more of his element, more space, and when you talk to him, I tease him a lot about it. I say you wanted to move because you were scared, but you end up having plays take a little bit more time for him as a safety as opposed to when he's at that star position. It's on him right now. And honestly, between you and I and nobody else, he was never fearful. It was just an opportunity, like I said, to put him probably in a better position for him and us at the time. So he's relished in it, and we just got to get him to turn that ball over, create some turnovers back there, and do what he's done since he's been here at SMU.
Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.